Hi, Chris. It's Brad McPherson here with AirMac Aerial Imaging. And we thought it would just be a great idea to get an overview video for you showing you the features of our user interface in our web portal. And our web portal is hosted in a platform called Drone Deploy. And we previously used 4 platforms, but made a business decisions that Drone Deploy was the best representation of what we wanted to be able to provide. And so, although we worked with Drone Deploy for quite a long time, and along with 3 others, Maps Made Easy, Pix4D, and DJI Terra, we just felt like Drone Deploy provided us the very best and most universally accepted way for us to interface with our clients, and for you guys to have a platform and a good web portal that would be there. And so we are an enterprise class member of Drone Deploy, and that'll be permanent. And so if you discuss, with somebody else where our data is kept and where your imaging team or your drone team, keeps their stuff, and you mentioned Drone Deploy, everybody's going to know exactly what that is. And so I just wanted to mention that. You'll get an invitation to join Drone Deploy as a stakeholder in all the projects that we do for you. And assuming we continue to do more and more, we'll create folders for you, and those will be there permanently. And so anyway, when you first log on to Drone Deploy, you see these numbers of tiles here, and you select the one that would be yours. This has several different ones in it that are all there's nothing highly confidential here, so it's okay for these to be seen. But ultimately, when you see yours, or the Marshall County Commissioners, we'll call it, that will be the only tiles that you'll see. It'll be a uniquely designated space just for you guys. So, and then all of your projects will be in there as separate tiles. And so you would select the one that you want. I'm going to go to the Marshall County Expo Center that we did yesterday, and just kind of fly through or just go over the user interface features here, what's there, what isn't. This is kind of what we did yesterday when we were together. And I'll try to cover this pretty quickly. Just tell you what the different switches do, how to access certain things, and then hopefully you'll feel comfortable with it. And if you need to, you can refer back to this video. This is a private video. We're not sending this out, and we really don't use YouTube for marketing purposes anyway. But this will be here for a week or two, and then we'll just delete it. But meanwhile, if you need to show it to some of your other team members or anybody else that you think might need to be able to access this too, then feel free to do that. But what we have up here is our main menus, and we talked yesterday about the fly menu. The fly has our flight plans in it, and those, because we're going to designate you guys as a complete, fully authenticated and credentialed stakeholder in this. You would have editing privileges too. So the one thing I would ask, please don't change anything that you see in the fly menu. And the reason is because that would make it difficult for us to be able to repeat the exact flight plans over and over again. And that's one of the benefits of utilizing us and using us through the Drone Deploy platform, where everything is there and consolidated into one space. That when we create like a mission plan where we're going to repeat it over time to show progress, it becomes very difficult when those change. So I would just say, for anything up here, just don't worry about it, and you would stay within the Explore area, which gives you full access to everything on the map. So I'm going to turn all these things off for the moment, and this is kind of where we started yesterday when we were looking at the Drone Deploy platform to plan the mission that we did. So you see when you first hit the project file, the project map, you'll see the just the basic map it can be, and it tends to change depending on what Drone Deploy puts up in their platform that day. It can be Mapbox, it can be Google, it can be Airbus, or any of those MapQuest. So, but at the end of the day, these are all the type of things that you would see on Google Earth, for example. And then within that, you'll see the type of assets that we place out there for you: data assets, map assets, et cetera, et cetera. So switching all of that off. We mentioned yesterday a little bit, going down this menu first, we mentioned a little bit about overlays. Overlays is where you would put in, and we can go in a minute over to the Lake Church and I'll show you, say for example, those drawings that we looked at from your engineering team, the CAD drawings of what the building expansion looks like. Those can be put in there as a layer. Everything has a variable opacity, which means that you can fade it in or out, so it's not the most visible thing. It's kind of back in the background, or we can bring it up to the front. That's what the opacity variable does. So the different maps that are created are in this drop-down menu here. And to turn those on, you would click like so. This is the map we generated yesterday. It's kind of impressive when you look at it, because you can see the map that we generated sitting on top of the map that was there before from Mapbox. So we'll turn that on. We'll leave it turned on. And so mentioning about the opacity again, when you open up the different menus, that's where the things like opacity is going to be able to be varied. If you want to know about the accuracy, we did fly this with RTK, and so your accuracy report is all there. If you wanted to have a processing report, you could click this here, and it would get into a lot more detail. Launch that, just show you what it looks like. It goes into the quality of what we were able to produce for you. We actually don't use those very often, but it's nice to know that it's there. And so this talks about the equipment we use. So the amount of images that were shot, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to spend much time there, but you can just see. That's in the map area. Next down is plant health. We didn't generate any plant health data because that's typically for agricultural stuff. And there's another aircraft that's used specifically for that. Ours will do it, but it's not something that we try to import into our maps. If you click on it, it will launch a plant health layer. But it's not based on temperature or anything. It's just based on map data that was there already. Elevation gives a heat map in the 2D view, and we'll come over to these views in a second. But going down here, this creates a heat map for elevation, and this is really a valuable tool, just on a broad brush to see the direction water's going. Of course, in your case, and the palette for the colors is here. The higher is red, the lower is in blue. In this case, those are variable as well. But you can change those so that the colors are more compressed or less compressed. And within this, you can see where the highest and the lowest points are going to be, and the system will automatically create those for you. So when you just flip it on, you just turn the elevation thing on, or the elevation switch, you turn that on and look at just the heat map. It's going to automatically create what it believes to be the best view. So, and I'm going to turn that back off. We can use that in a minute. Before I do, I'm going to show you the opacity. Again, this is a great example for that. If you wanted to have that heat map on in the background a little bit, this is how you would vary that. Okay. Opacity, I'm setting it at 70%, which I believe is the default. And then going on down the menu a little bit more, let's turn that off. This is where the media is going to be that are the specially captured in addition to the map data, the map images. These are going to be the things like the panoramas, and we did 2 out there. That's why this shows a 2 there. When you click that panel button, it will show you where those panels are located. If we had 30 of them out here, they'd all show up. And then within that, those can be labeled. And we went ahead and labeled these just, kind of some just logical names, Northwest Pano, Southeast Pano, et cetera, et cetera. And you can look at the panoramas by clicking on them. And pretty impressive. They are high definition. So really gives you a great opportunity to be able to see pretty much exactly what's going on in the general area. And we do shoot these at a resolution that makes them very zoomable. These don't get down to the rivet level. That's what our other cameras will do. But they do give a very good overview. So, and again, we've got one up here and then one down here. This would be the other view from your southeast side. Kind of a gray day yesterday. And then the videos that we shoot, we do a perimeter video. And we always do the videos when we do these construction staging missions. It's just a really good tool to have. I will say that the way we had the camera set yesterday, I do think we should have been, we should have built the perimeter a little bit larger. So I'm going to go back and regenerate this video. I'll leave this one out there, but you'll see a second one that'll just show up eventually, and it'll have a larger perimeter. So this one I don't really like the fact that we should have had our camera so it was further out this way. But it's still a useful tool. Anyway, that's what the video does, and that's how you find it. There's the name of it. We'll rename it something a little bit more meaningful. That's just right out of our camera. Then the map photos, which is down here in the media, that's the aerial shots that were taken to build the orthomosaic map or the view. It's like we talked about yesterday. The way these are done is, we generate these hundreds of pictures, and then our artificial intelligence system knits all those together utilizing the RTK corrected GPS coordinates and the geotagging that makes these together as one. And the result is that, a picture that you used to have to shoot from several thousand feet to get, you can now shoot from the 200 or 300 foot level like we did yesterday. Knit those together, and you're able to cover a very large area. And the benefit to that is that when you shoot a higher aerial photo from 1,000 feet or 800 feet or whatever you needed to get to be able to capture all the area, and that's, of course, I did that for years in aircraft. But you would lose the resolution when you drilled in, when you went real deep into when you zoomed in a lot. Now with this, you have both. You have the ability to capture a large area, but also have the zoomability to be able to get into some real detail. I mean, the detail that we're able to capture this would be impossible with an aerial photo that was shot from an aircraft. There's no way. I mean, we're able to even see, what the guy's got in his truck. That wouldn't have come out in an aerial photo from an aircraft. So anyway, that's what the media is. The panos, the panoramas, the videos, and then the map photos. And so annotations and the markups are things that we draw on there, or you do. For example, let's say there are none here now, but if we wanted to, we'll come back to this menu in a minute. But if we wanted to have, let's say, a measurement of anything, say we want to know a distance from, let's just say for fun, the road to the edge of the building, for whatever reason, click on that. That's going to create an annotation in that area. We have one. You can name it something. I'm just going to call it line 1 for fun. And that'll pop up over here when I have line 1. But it shows you the distance that's there, the vertical, up and down. In other words, what elevation that's crossed, and then kind of a chart of what the elevation looks like. If you have something that you use for multiple points, and let's say this was going all around the map, that would be exportable to an Excel spreadsheet this way. You can go to a CSV file for Excel to be able to export that, and then which would allow you to import it into something else if you wanted to. But for this case, that's not really what I'm trying to tell you, but it's just it's something to know. But anyway, so when you see the actual horizontal length, and then you would see the surface length. This takes into account the elevations that it crosses. So if there's little ridges or it's going across a rock or something like that, so you'll have sometimes a little bit longer service length than you do on the actual length of the measurement. So that know that difference. It's just kind of a powerful tool. If you say you're running that line over a hill of dirt or something, it's going to take that into account. So, and that would stay there until you decide to delete it. And you can have any number of annotations on there. And when we click over here, you've got the line 1. That's what I named it when we actually created it. So, and then when you're done with it and you don't want that to be on your map anymore, you click on it, like just select it as so. And then you go up here to this menu to the delete and just take that out. And then it's gone. So we'll come back in a minute and look at those menus in a little bit more detail. So things get really interesting when we go into the 3D view, and that's up here. But before I get to that, this when you're in the 2D view, there's this compare images. So when you have multiple generations of the map, let's say for example, we had started this project with you when it was just the original building in dirt. And through all of those stages and phases, you would have this comparative tool that you could look at. So Chris, what I'm going to do is sneak over here to Lake Church, because that's a place where we've been involved in that project since it was just pasture land, and documented the entire thing the whole way. So this is a great tool, or great project set to show the different phases. And the reason that's important, I think, is because if we're involved in a project, whatever it is, whether it's construction or a road or building a bridge or anything, being able to catch it in stages and document it in stages is really a useful tool, especially later when you want to go back and take a look at how something was done. And I'm not saying you're necessarily looking for problems, but you're just looking for history. It would be there. So this tool up here in the upper left-hand corner selects your 2D, 3D, and the 3D is where your contours will be. We'll get there in just a second. But this comparative tool is really important for that purpose. And you can put whatever map it is that you want to compare side by side in. So if you have multiple generations, let's say we go back to July on this side and we go to August 29th out here, then seeing that side by side is what that tool does. It's basically a window into each one of the maps that allows you to see the differences. Okay. When you're done with the tool, click like here, and you go back to the 2D and 3D view. Okay, so back over to the Expo Center, we'll take a look at the 3D features now. And of course, the one thing to make sure, obviously, is that the map is turned on. And let me say one thing that I want to make sure I get mentioned to you, just so you'll know. Sometimes we hear clients will tell us, hey, by the way, the road that's out here, like Highway 70, it doesn't line up exactly with what is on the base map. And the reason for that is because the base map that's from somebody like Mapbox or Google has a lot of latitude, longitude error in it. Our system is done with RTK and it does not. So if you see a disparity between the way a road shows on an AirMac aerial imaging map that's done with RTK versus something like Google Earth or Mapbox or whatever it is, MapQuest, etc., you definitely want to use the AirMac map for the location of whatever it is. Don't use the one that comes from the base map provider. Those have a lot of error in them. So enough about that. But anyway, so for 3D, you're going to want to make sure that whichever generation of map it is that we generated for you is selected. And as we do these over time, they accumulate, and you can see the different stages. And so the 3D is where your elevations are going to be, and your contours are going to, well, elevations are actually in the 2D view too, but they're really the most useful in the 3D view. And so, and then with the 3D view selected in the upper right-hand corner, that's going to create the view that's based only on what AirMac has done for you. And so the elevation heat map is still available in that view. And then so are contours. But let me show you how to navigate this map. It's rotatable with your mouse, just dragging and dropping whichever position you want it to be in. But to be able to zoom in and zoom out on each of on whatever view it is that you select, you just press your mouse wheel down in the center of your mouse, the wheel, and then you drag with it pressed down, you just drag forward and backwards on your mouse pad. Okay, and that gets you your zooming. So it makes it really efficient, really fast to be able to get around whatever view it is. So within this view, if you had annotations on this map, say like the line that we drew, or maybe you've got a lot of annotations in there, those can be selected on and off within the annotation menu. So if you've got 20 different objects that you've measured, or maybe you've drawn just a rough drawing out here with the annotation marking tools to be able to, you can turn any of those on and off in any combination, or all on and all off by selecting this. We don't have any annotations, so none are showing up. But if we had 30, for example, and we wanted 20 of those, we would click in the annotation area and then just select the 20 that we want. So, so going into the elevations again, just showing you the heat map. The contours are here, okay, and they're selectable by color. We have them turned on in black, but white is also available. And the default is 16-foot majors and 3-foot minors. We went ahead and just wanted to dial this down into 1. It makes it a little bit busy, but for the case of doing some grading or something and you're trying to figure out something a little bit more precise, the 1-foot granularity is probably what you're going to want to have there. So, and the contours are also available with the elevation layer, and that makes them even more visible. So in the case of, and I'm not going to try to review this for your purpose, you can do that, but just get the idea, this is how you navigate the system. So let's put the black ones in there and see if that makes it a little bit more visible with the heat map behind it. Yeah, there you go. That's probably the best view for this. But you can select the views that you like, whatever you feel like is the most useful for your purpose. So I do want to talk one more time about the exports. I showed you that yesterday. Exports are here, bottom left-hand corner. And here's the different, say for example, you want to put this in a CAD program or something like ArcGIS Pro, or to share with somebody else. These are all of your exportable data sets. So without going into those, you know, that within each one you do have different types of data that you can, from, say you want the geotip, but you want it in a JPEG or a PDF, that's all available here. Okay. The digital terrain model is where you're going to find your contours, and that's something that would come out for like in a shapefile or AutoCAD, etc. So just know that too. Again, I'm not going to go into detail on every single one, but just know that they're there. I want to cover quickly the annotation layer or annotation menu to show you what's there. And we've already covered, you know, drawing a line on there and marking it. But the other tools that are there are the AI tool, which is something that you can, say we have a stockpile of something here and we know what it is in advance. We tell the AI that it's brush or logs or gravel or whatever it is, and that creates some AI generated volumetrics that gives us a rough idea of what the volumes are. A point is if you wanted to just say, I want to mark something here so that I can remember to come back to it. Point 1. Voila. And that'll just stay there, and it will remind me to go back and look at point 1 to say I found something there. And again, to be able to erase that, I just click on that point, come up to the upper right-hand corner, and delete it. So the polygon tool here is going to allow you to just measure the area of something. Let's just say we want to see how large an area this is for whatever purpose, this lagoon area. Double clicking that to close it, and then it's going to create this shows 0.32 acres. You can of course label that like you can any of the others. I'm going to erase that. Then the other tools that are out there are really handy too. One that I like a lot is, and we use a whole bunch, is when we're trying to label something and trying to figure out how like the quantity, how many there is of something. Say for example, we want to know how many fence posts we're looking at, how many are going to be there. We're trying to calculate a cost. Then that's what we would do with the counting tool. And then that will live as an annotation. And you double click when you're done and it'll create that number that's there. I'm just going to go fence posts. If I could spell properly. And then that will live there as that annotation will live there as the number of fence posts. I actually put an extra one on there. But when you click that line, then it'll show you the quantity and it'll stay there until you decide to hit the delete button and make it go away. So, and it would show up as an annotation over in your markup area too. These are other volumetric tools too. If you find something in particular that really bugs you, that you go, wow, I want this fixed, then you could create an area issue. Say, for example, this, you don't like, I don't know what it is, but let's just say, for example, you don't like this greater spot here. You think it's too much of something and not enough of something else, then that would allow you to create a like an issue, some sort of a technical issue, and then label it in terms of critical or minor or in between. You can associate costs with that, and there's a number of other things that can be added. You can add issue types on your own. There's some logical ones there, safety hazard, you know, blah, blah, blah. So just know that that's what that does. Pretty cool and useful. And like the other annotations, those will stay on there until you decide to delete them. So anyway, well, Chris, that's about it. And hope this is useful to you. So let us know if you have any other questions, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. Take good care.